navigators through the mic. Here we go! He's killing it. Watch out! He's showing love and he's mad about it. Mad love. That's why we say, come on, man, you already know. Mad love.
Time that I was 5 years old, the way it was told to me, the working man built this land and fought to keep it free. They knew we had to do what it took to keep our families safe. Now you wanna throw it all away, yeah. Buddy, if you try to take my rights, you're in for one hell of a fight. When it comes to my Constitution, I'm a true believer. Come to my house, I'll tell you right now, I'll give you my gun. When you pry it from my cold dead hand, start with my middle finger. You look down on us from Capitol Hill, vote yourself a raise. You tell us all what to believe, when and where to pray. You think that we'll just stand back while you rewrite the rules? Man, I'm thinking y'all ain't thought this through, yeah. Buddy, if you try to take my rights, you're in for one hell of a fight. When it comes to my Constitution, I'm a true believer. Come to my house, I'll tell you right now, I'll give you my gun. When you pry it from my cold dead hand, start with my middle finger. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for us all. Buddy, if you try to take my rights, you're in for one hell of a fight. When it comes to my Constitution, I'm a true believer. Come to my house, I'll tell you right now, I'll give you my gun. When you pry it from my cold dead hand, you've got to pry it from my cold dead hand. Start with my middle finger. Start with my middle finger. My middle finger. You can start with my middle finger.
Yes, yes. Let's get that out of the way. Cold Dead Hand by Andy Ross. Before we get Andy on here talking American patriot, country song rocker, and a CEO. Okay, I'm the CEO of a lot of things. We're going to get into that. All titles held by Andy Ross. The American Dream. Andy Ross has built an empire on his electric personality and abilities as a singer-songwriter, an entertainer, entrepreneur, a bow hunter, a car enthusiast, and TV host. Now, a lot of people are like, what are you talking about? Like, this guy, he's on QSJ radio. Like, what do you look, I know he's here, but we're going to talk to Andy Ross here in a second. But Andy has he has all these accolades and all these hats, and he's also an author and a public speaker. I think he's on TV weekly. This is not even a game, but this didn't start like out of nowhere. This started straight from the home. I know a lot of people ask you, a lot of questions about, where did this start? How did this? When did it? Like as if they didn't look into this. But what I want to ask you is about Bud Ross. I want to ask you about Big Bud, Pop Dukes as we call them in the urban community. Like, how did Bud Ross, your dad, start this off for you?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for kicking off the show with that amazing love song. That was awesome. got me all pumped up over here. And you're right. Every presentation I do on behalf of our company, American Rebel, I always start by talking about my father, Bud Ross, and where I kind of got my entrepreneurial spirit, my attitude, my look at life, my willingness to stick my neck out. And I've generated what a lot of people will tell me is kind of a great story and chasing the American dream, but where he came from and what he accomplished and what he put together and the kind of person that he was, it pales in comparison to my father. He's my hero. And unfortunately I lost him about 4.5 years ago.
Oh, condolences.
But it's been it was an amazing growing up having Bud Ross for a father. But I'll dive into the story if you want me to just kind of dive into some background on my dad. It's my favorite story, so if that's where you want me to go, that's how I'll start it off.
I know a little bit about custom electronics. I know that he dabbled in doing that kind of thing, but that was a long time ago with tech. So how did that help you? I mean, you can go ahead and into the Bud Ross
the tech side of it's one thing, but my dad came from the mountains of West Virginia. Had 5 sisters. Grew up in a very very religious household. The first time my granny saw a jet airplane across the sky, she sent him telling everybody on the mountainside God had thrown a spear across the earth. I mean, they grew up back in the sticks.
Wow.
My grandfather was a coal miner, had a couple of coal mining accidents. A lot of people were getting hurt in coal mines. And somehow through distant family, she got a job opportunity at the Kansas City College and Bible School that had just started.
Okay.
And my grandfather, we called him Paul, got on as the janitor. And when my dad was 14 years old, they relocated out of the hills of West Virginia to Kansas City. And that was the first time my dad had experienced running water or ever flushed a toilet. He was already 14 years old.
Wow.
He went to school and worked in an auto body shop after school. And back then they were hot rodding cars, and they were doing this thing, chopping, channeling, and doing this tuck and roll upholstery to them. And they taught him in the auto body shop how to sew. He'd sew that tuck and roll material. Well, he learned how to play music in church, and his mom and dad didn't care much for it, but he played in a rock band at night, often got in trouble and disciplined for playing in the rock band. But he had this old amp that he had managed to scrape together, and he was kind of embarrassed by the appearance of it. So he took it into the auto body shop after hours one day and made that tuck and roll material and tuck and rolled that guitar amp. And unbeknownst to him, when he was out playing gigs, other musicians would say, "Man, would you do that to my amp? Could you do that to my amp?" So he did that, and then he decided, on the speaker cabinet, if I'd push the speaker board back a couple inches, I could wrap that material around, staple it, then put the grill cloth on, hide the staples. There wouldn't be any staples on this tuck and roll.
Okay.
But he had to make the speaker cabinets from scratch.
Yeah.
And he did that for 2 years, saved up enough money to help him design an amplifier. And that was the beginning of custom electronics, custom with a K.
Yep.
Tuck and roll is rock and roll. And custom became, at a very young age, he became the largest manufacturer of music equipment for a while in the country.
You know, I don't know where you picked the flag up, but you got a lot of things going on for you too. So, but I can see where the music came. You know, the loudness, the rock part, and all of that. And I could tell. You know, you're out there in Kansas City now, but the bowing. Where did this love for the bow come?
Yeah. So, I was born and raised in Chinook, Kansas, where outside, it's about 2 hours outside of Kansas City, and the bank down there gave my dad a $10,000 SBA loan, and he relocated to Kansas City. A few years later, I was born and raised down there, and moved to Kansas City as about 18, and I've lived in Nashville, Tennessee now for about 14 years. But growing up, we grew up in a small town in southeast Kansas hunting, a lot of upland hunting, quail, duck.
Yeah.
And when I was about 13, 12, 13, I got in a little bit of trouble. We'll leave it at that. And I ended up finding myself in military school at Wentworth Military Academy in Lexington, Missouri.
And that was back in the day. So, It was tough. What?
It was tough. So you had the school year, and then I had to go a school year and part of another school year, but I couldn't go home for the summer. So I stayed at Wentworth Military Academy summer camp because I couldn't go home.
Wow.
And while I was in summer camp, we did a lot of detail, we did a lot of cleanup and stuff like that, but they also taught me how to canoe, how to tie knots and build fires, and they taught me archery. And I learned how to shoot a bow in military school, the old style longbow.
Yeah.
And that's really where my my passion for hunting that I already had meets the bow. And then, by the time I got back and, I really got into bow hunting. We weren't doing bow hunting in military school. We were, shooting and
recreation
and learning the skill of shooting a longbow. But that's where our hunting met, archery met me, bow hunting.
Now, I don't know the history of these reality TV things, but I know that sometimes there's an application and sometimes people come and find you. So a little bit later on in life, you end up with your own show on outdoor TV that ran for 10 seasons or 10 years. And I'm trying to see, where was the big, we're going to be on TV all day? How did that come about? Because I'm trying to get a reality TV show, too.
So later in life, as I had experimented with business and had some limited success and failure, and still had this big passion for bow hunting, and compound bows were really really coming on and popular, and bow hunting itself was a good time, 2005. And I decided to manufacture my own bow, and I started a bow company. And one thing that was really making the hunting equipment, whether it be tree stands and targets and bows and broadheads, duck calls and all this stuff, really popular and do well, was there was a lot of TV personalities that had TV shows.
Yeah.
Ralph and Vicky, Lee and Tiffany, Michael Waddell, the Drury Brothers, Primos, all the Realtree guys, David Blanton, and all these guys. And they all had these TV shows on the Outdoor Channel. And I wanted one of them to shoot my bow on their show. I wanted one of them, to use my product.
Okay.
And I couldn't get it done. They liked me. They liked the bow. Okay. I mean, they liked the bow, but they already had contracts with Matthews and Hoyt and Bowtech and PSE. And, they had agreements, several year agreements with them. And it wasn't something that you just kind of broke into day one. Maybe you develop some relationships and down the road. But so I thought to myself, well, I can hunt. And I got a friend who ran camera part-time for the Drury Brothers, was an experienced cameraman for outdoor hunting, bow hunting. And I got him to go on a handful of hunts with me. And we took 4 of my hunts and made a DVD out of it. Okay. And so every time I sold a bow, I put a DVD in the box of the bow on TV. And when we'd do trade shows and stuff, I'd give these DVDs away. And
hold on.
Yeah.
for our younger people in that's listening in, a DVD is a disc that was full of a lot of memory, more like a CD, but a DVD, and the DVD showed video. It was a video thing. Like, I just got to let them know, because
digital video disc.
It's such a long time. Okay,
Yeah.
And
it
even though it was
the VCR tape.
yes. So,
Yeah.
so you're at this DVD. You're handing. This is like a demo, basically, right? Like,
it wasn't meant to be a demo. It really was just meant to have 4 exciting hunts where I showed the bow in action, and I filmed it. I was a big fan of the hunting TV show, so yeah, we filmed it like a hunting TV show. We had no other commercials other than the commercial for my bow to run at the break. So every break we ran one of my commercials. And
wow.
Anyway, about 4 months later, the network had gotten a hold of it and called me and asked me if I wanted to do a TV show. So Maximum Archery was born, later became Maximum Archery World Tour, and it aired for 10 years.
Maximum Archery.
After 10 years, I decided to pull it to the curb and was playing too much music. And
I know about that. I know that there was like a little bit of fans that took it to a different level. Well, we were out there overseas a lot. We was always watching outdoor TV. I think a few times your shows came on AFN, the Armed Forces Network, and stuff like that. So it's not like I haven't seen you around. You know what I mean?
we did, man. We did a lot of stuff with members of the Armed Forces and different charities they would throw. We would show up and do meet and greets, and they'd have archery tournaments, and I'd shoot in them. And I think everybody was surprised. I'm a really good shot with a bow, but I'm not the best shot. And one thing you'll learn about hunting real quick is the shot is skill is important, and you need to be good at it, efficient, and practice. But getting close enough to an elk or a moose or a bear or a mountain goat or caribou, getting close enough to have an archery shot. The hard part's getting in there and getting close. Not because I can hit this, at 30 yards, I can hit a dime instead of a ping pong ball makes me a better hunter, because the guy can hit the dime may not be able to get within 40 yards of the elk. You got to get in there, and that's the hard part, and what takes a lot of practice and skill, and really just time in the woods and learning how to play the wind, and when they're bedding down, and where are the other eyeballs at, and the cows are bedded, and where they're pointing, and waiting them out. And I mean, there's a lot to it, but it was a lot of fun. And but after 10 years of doing it, it was time to move on.
We're right here, and if you guys are just tuning in, we're talking to Andy Ross, American Rebel CEO, rock star. We'll call him the Patriot, country rebel star, or whatever you want to call him, right? He's a great guy. He's been on TV 10 years, and I say that because the camera is usually intimidating, and after a while, you just get used to being on camera. And now we're at this phase where I think you didn't want to. Maybe I'm getting this wrong. You didn't want to look for intro music anymore for your show, so you decided to throw one of your own in there, which is super slick. But you know what? I'm thinking about it, and it's like, this is something you've always done anyway. As soon as the show began with the DVD, you branded yourself and everything. Yeah. And next thing you know, you hit him over the head, and I'm sitting here with the blood trail on whitetail, right? Like, you hit him with the intro to that, and then it blows up. And the reason it blows up, well, first of all, let's blow it up again. Big shout out to everybody listening. Blood Trail on Whitetail, QSJRadio.com. Andy Ross.
It's that time of year, I call it opening day. Packing up my gear, time to get away. just like me. I got a blood trail on a white tail. My arrows in the ground all covered in red. I got a blood trail on a white tail. I'm all jacked up, it's as good as it gets. I got a blood trail on a white tail. Lower my bow, it's time to go. I got a blood trail on a white tail. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Found first blood, pick and stick. He's 42 yards down by the creek. All piled up, wide and high. A strip of velvet and one drop tine. I got a blood trail on a white tail. My arrows in the ground all covered in red. I got a blood trail on a white tail. I'm all jacked up, it's as good as it gets. I got a blood trail on a white tail. Lower my bow, it's time to go. I got a blood trail on a white tail. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
Before we hit that bridge, big shout out to everybody listening. Tune in to QSJRadio.com, home of the unsigned artists. We were talking to Andy Ross, American Rebel CEO, Patriot country star, Patriot rock star. We got to throw that in there. We're talking about a little bit of the history, what got him into the music biz, because that's a different type of a move right there. And he, at this time, the world is digital. The world, I think even at that time they were even talking about converting TV into digital. Like they were giving messages out and everything like that. So now with music, you had the iTunes going on, and that went ahead and swept the world as we already know. And but this song is like 5 years into your season, and you throw that in there. I mean, we're talking about the merch is out now. Everybody knows this song. Everybody knows this show. Like, this is getting super popular. First, the taking off of the music, it was going to happen because you had a show on TV. All right? That's one. But the amount of blow up, was you prepared for that?
We really, we weren't prepared for it, but it came fast, but it came gradually. So we warmed up to it all the way. We knew right away we had done something. And let me go there real quick. When we had the show Maximum Archery for about four and a half years,
okay,
all these X Games came out.
Yeah.
All these things kids were doing with bicycles and motocross and skateboards, and video games were getting cool. And I told Mike Osborne, my cameraman, I said, kids got so many more fun things to do than watch me, on TV going, hey, it's Tuesday, wind's out of the west, we're in Kansas. I said, bow hunting looks boring in comparison to these new options these kids got that they're doing these days.
Yeah.
We got to make this show more fun. We've got to make it more exciting. So we changed the name from Maximum Archery to Maximum Archery World Tour. And I took all my hunts, the dates, and the species, and I put them on the back of a T-shirt, like a Van Halen concert shirt or a Journey concert shirt. And our shirts started looking like concert shirts. And we started filming the travel and the making of the show and going into some bar in a gold mine town in Colorado no one had ever heard of, drinking original Honey Blonde on tap, playing darts, and doing laundry in these towns and small towns and almost getting in trouble a million times. We started filming the travel. It became Maximum Archery on Tour.
Yeah.
And the on tour became more entertaining than the hunt. So a hunting show is roughly 3 segments. That my show now became 2 segments of being on the road making a hunting show and 1 segment of the hunt. And that's when I said, well, if it's Maximum Archery on tour, why don't we make some original music for the show so that we're not just using regular internet music and stuff. I can play a little. I mean, I would, uber talented, but I could play, and evidently I can write a song. So that's where Blood Trail on a Whitetail, Hunt Me Down, Gotta Go Hunting Blues, Support Your Local Wildlife. That's where those songs came from. And then just like you said, that time 6 months before, here came iTunes. Kids, why can't we find your music on iTunes? We can't find it on iTunes. I can't find it on iTunes. So next thing I know, I'm talking to Doug Growell in Nashville, Tennessee.
Wow.
Who was working with the Davison brothers, who helped me put that together. Little Texas, Travis Tritt, and all this. They co-wrote some of those songs. And I said, can you get this music on iTunes? He said, yeah, but Andy, if they'll buy that, they'll make a real record. Why don't you come back to Nashville and let's make an album?
Ooh.
Boom. Didn't see that coming.
Ooh. The pressure.
Yeah.
Oh my. I mean, that's almost like a dream for a musician. For somebody
the music was just a little bit more icing on the cake of the show. The music never was supposed to have a life of its own, let alone 4 albums later and tour in the United States. Never intended out of the gate for that to have legs of its own.
Now these legs have grown kind of serious, right? That even sometime around maybe I don't know, maybe 9.5 years, 10, about to go and decide if you're going to keep the show running. That you decided maybe it's time to let this go. Like, what was that feeling of almost letting the show go and crossing your fingers for this other stuff to work out?
Well, we did both for 3 or 4 years. In the last couple of years of doing the show, we were doing a lot more music. I knew we had some legs with the music. So it was a twofold thing. One, I was getting to more, I had more opportunities to play than ever live. The music was doing great. Some things were going a little viral. Downloads were great. There are 2 more points to that. One, the second point is I really was getting burnt out on the show from the standpoint that I felt like if I couldn't be authentic in the hunts, if I was just hunting to make another episode of TV and trying to get down on the ground and pretend like I just had the hunt of my life, when I was really 10 years of it now, 7 months a year, 10 years, I was hunting. And I really just thought, man, this is not, I'm not giving the right message to, hunting is supposed to be about, the experience with your son in the woods and granddad and, you know, putting something down and putting it in the freezer and respecting it and enjoying it. It's not supposed to be about, boom, what a great hunt, get me to the next camp, we got to get another show in the can. And it started to feel like that. It just started feeling like I love hunting. I support it and promote it every chance I get. But I felt like I was 99% making TV and 1% hunting. And that started bothering me. And I had all these opportunities to play music. And third point is, I don't know if you can imagine this or not, but the girls are a lot prettier at a rock concert than they are hunting camp. So,
let me get one for that. He did that one. And that's very accurate. Okay, shout out to the hunting chicks, but come on, let's get serious.
But I want to live with my head on this rock, up in this mountain in Alaska, but on horseback, or do I want to go, hang out at this high rise in Nashville, Tennessee, overlooking downtown, and get on the tour bus and play some rock and roll? I was ready to make the change, so the timing was perfect. I'd done the show enough to where I was really thinking that it might be time to move on, and the music hit and came on at the right time. I had the right people working with me. When you have a hunting show, that's on and popular.
Yeah.
There's a lot of artists in music, especially country music, that love to hunt.
Yeah.
So like I didn't have to introduce myself to the Davison brothers, to Blake Shelton, to Lee Bryce, to the
It was
to the
kind of
who's
one of
who in
those.
Nashville.
It was kind of one of those. Yeah, they knew
they,
you.
Yeah. So
And then you're like, wait, you know me? Like,
yeah, exactly. They're like, hey, we watched your show. Hey, we heard your song on the show. Hey, you want to write one? We'll write one with you for your show. It'd be cool. And I'm like, this guy wants to write with me, you know? The Davison brothers want to write with me.
I know I've been to Nashville. All right. I've been there, and on the weekend, I forget if it was in the summer or something, but it is like that. And especially if you're like, it is like that. If you're really good at it, live music everywhere, definitely. That's one. But if you're sitting there in Nashville and these established artists are just like, hey, come and jam with us, that had to be a different feeling. Like that had to be for you.
I remember we'd come off a hunt. We were going through a town, a city, and a friend that I'd met in Nashville, who's a great friend of mine today, Lee Bryce, big time, plays auditoriums, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 number ones, monster artist.
Yes.
And I'm at a show. We were coming through, just happened to kind of, hey, a couple hours out of our way, we can see Lee, go over and see this, one of Lee's shows. And we're standing there, and his tour manager, maybe it's the stage manager, says, hey, Lee's going to pull you up for a song. And I'm like, what are we playing? And he's like, just an old standard. He's going to pull you up for just doing an old cover, not one of his, because he didn't know if I knew.
Yeah. I get it.
And just, Can't You See by Marshall Tucker. Everybody knows.
Oh, yes, okay.
Yeah. I'm like, okay. But what are the chords? He wrote the chords down on a napkin in catering and gave me the chords. And I said, how long do I got? And he said, I don't know, maybe about 30 minutes or so before he pulled up. And I went into a dressing room with a guitar. And this was a little bit before you could just pull anything up on the internet.
Right.
And listen to, on iTunes, listen to Can't You See? I kind of knew the words and you
had to look up the lyrics real quick.
It's not a difficult song, but I didn't know it. And
you had a karaoke moment.
We pulled it off flawlessly, but it was and I didn't know what part, what verse am I singing or whatever. He's just a professional. He just looks over and goes like that. And you're supposed to dive in. So
wow.
Anyway, it was a lot of fun.
That sounds like it was lovely. It sounds like he was nervous.
Okay, what are we doing? What are the chords?
Well, that's a great opportunity right there, and
sure.
One of those one of the greatest things about this these findings is that you got to be a good person at all times, right? You gotta this doesn't happen being stuck up. This happens being humble, and things could be different, and realizing that there are situations where you were basically blessed to be in, and do you contemplate? Do you take your history and you say, hey, like these are right places, right time situations?
Yeah. There's so much timing involved in what I've done in my life and how it just happened to work out. And then this, iTunes just happened to come along, and then someone got a hold of the DVD. And then, we've got a business to talk about, but, you can be someone that people know and want to meet, and they'll let, you can hang out once, but to be invited back time after time and time again, humble, good person, too blessed to be stressed, too hateful, too grateful to be hateful.
Yeah.
A good person, a caring person. And, I just took a friend of mine to see Lee, of all we're talking about, Lee, like 1 or 2 weekends ago. And she was asking me, she's like, well, does he know you're coming? I said, no, he don't know I'm coming. Well, how do you have this set up and you don't even know you're coming? I said, because I don't have to tell him I'm coming. I just got to show up. Well, where are we going to sit? Anywhere we want. Where are we going to go? Anywhere we want.
Yeah.
Well, why can I do that? because number one, I don't wear him out. Number two, he hardly knows I'm there.
Yeah.
I never, I never take more than one person. I stay the heck out of the way.
Look,
And
this,
I say thank you, and I look forward to seeing you back home, man.
this
And
is really good stuff right now. Like my audience is warranted towards unsigned artists, and one of the biggest deals that these, those that don't understand is you have to show some kind of support without it being in their face. Like, you're going to go to somebody's show, then just go to the show. Like, if you're going to go to say hi and so proud of them and stuff, like, it has to be authentic, because the friendships are needed, and they're not fake. Like, you really got to understand, for an opportunity for you to go see Lee without asking for anything, or it's the friendship has to be there.
Well, we were standing there by the stage when he went on. He had his monitors in, so he couldn't really talk because he had ear monitors in his ears. He saw me, came over and gave me a big hug. Hey, glad you're here. We do a high five, and the music's going, and the intro music's going, and he went on. And about 30, 45, I don't know, an hour after the show, I get a text, "Hey, bud, you want to, you want to come out to the bus? We're kind of hanging." I'm like, "Man, I'm halfway home." I wasn't just standing around and go, "Hey,
right?
I'm here. You have to,
acknowledge.
I ain't there to wear you out, man. We'll see you back in Nashville.
Yeah.
Be safe. Love you, brother."
Yeah,
I'm not here to, I'm not here to be a liability to you. But
big shout out to everybody listening. If you guys are just tuning in, thank you so much for everybody. I just saw that some of our chat from the UK decided to go ahead on your fan page, so they've signed up for the fan club, and thank you so much, Nix, for that, and everybody who's in here. Thank you guys so much. Please go ahead and check out AmericanRebel.com or AndyRoss.com. We're vibing right now. We're history making right now. Then we go. Let's fast forward just a little bit, just not too far. But the Bow was the first company.
That's
now
correct.
There is a lot of stuff going on. Tell me about American Rebel, and I need to know this. Is orange one of your favorite colors? Like, cause it's been with you forever.
So orange started with Maximum Archery, and once I branded it with Maximum Archery, I branded it with Andy Ross, and I branded it with American Rebel, and I've just kept it going. But we had the Bow Company, made the DVD, put it in the box. Network got a hold, TV show, 10 years, music on the show. Now we're playing music, playing live. Right now, recording the 4th record. But off the Time to Fight record, I had a song called American Rebel, and it went viral as a patriotic anthem. Another song off that album was a big favorite of Danny's that landed me on Counting Cards, which was Cold Dead Hand, which you played in the intro.
Yeah.
But American Rebel goes viral as a patriotic anthem, and Doug Grau, who would work with the Davison brothers, Travis Tritt, Little Texas, developed a lot of talent. He was my producer and manager. I met him through the Davison brothers. And he said, "Andy, all the file sharing that's going on, when we could make albums back in the day, we made money selling music. When we went to CDs, we made money selling music. iTunes came out, for every song that was legitimately downloaded, the statistics say there's 12 that were illegally downloaded. But we're making money off of iTunes.
Yeah.
But then all the other file sharing systems came out, and streaming and all this stuff. And he said, we don't make money off the music like we used to. Maybe we ought to take this thing you got going, and this you got this background of entrepreneurship, designing products and building products and putting products out and sourcing, and maybe we ought to monetize the music with a brand. Maybe we ought to put some products out around the music." And we had the song American Rebel that was out there as a patriotic anthem, and we thought, well, why not just call the company American Rebel? And that's how American Rebel started in 2015. And as of February of 2022, we're now a publicly traded company on NASDAQ.
NASDAQ.
Yeah.
I'm in my living room, and I'm talking to a guy that's on NASDAQ. What? Oh my God, what are we doing here? No. Big shout out to you guys, for real, because you guys got a lot of stuff. And if you guys didn't know, and if you guys want to see this legendary situation that happened, especially during that time, Counting Cars decided that you guys got together and decided that you guys wanted to do like a Second Amendment muscle car, right? Is that the story?
We did. That's correct.
And it's a Corvette. It's a Corvette, which I believe you take everywhere with you when you display it.
This thing's like the Batmobile of the Second Amendment. We take it to trade shows. People line up to take pictures with it. Sometimes they invite me to be in the photo, which I'm always happy to do. And this car, the guys at Counting Cars and Danny, they're great guys, and they really hit it out of the park. The show aired. It airs on their greatest hits of shows. It airs on their greatest paint job of shows. It's one of the top reran episodes.
Yep.
It airs all the time. It's called Rocked and Loaded. And he did a great job too. I mean, he was so good to me, Rocked and Loaded, and with country rocker Andy Ross. And I mean, he really promoted the heck out of me before, we were still growing, and he really gave us a shot in the arm. Big audience.
So before we get into that real quick, let's get to the track that actually started it, which is, if you guys didn't know, it's almost an old school business move. Because when you're selling something, it has to have a backstory. Because if you can't make that connection with the customers, then it's just a product. But anyways, here's American Rebel on QSJRadio.com.
Diesel whine. Out on the road, another hunt, another show, another piece of that American pie. Biker bars and muscle cars, doing what the hell I please. Tennessee booze and new tattoos, living in the land of the free. Rebel, American rebel. Red, white, and blue, and I'm double trouble. I'm gonna rock till my dying day. On my tombstone it's gonna say American Rebel. Never been one to follow a crowd or be told what to do. I take a stand with a gun in my hand and a redneck attitude. I was born with a voice to be heard. I believe every word I sing. Power to the people. There's good and there's evil. Come on, let freedom ring. Rebel, American rebel. I'm red, white, and blue.
No, you guys can download that everywhere right now. Make sure you guys go do that. It's still streaming everywhere. It's still making the many numbers and things like that. So when we talk about American Rebel, we're talking about gun vaults, handgun vaults, safes, backpacks, which is CCW backpacks. I believe they're like bulletproof backpacks or something like that, right?
Yeah, one of our most popular model has a compartment that holds an optional ballistic shield. We have a proprietary protection pocket in our concealed carry backpacks and our coats and jackets. And that was the product we launched with, was the concealed carry products.
Wow.
And developed that really for a couple of years. Then we got into handgun boxes. Then we got into full-size gun safes. Then we ended up our OEM manufacturer also had a line of gun safes called Champion and Superior gun safes, had 2 lines. And we ended up acquiring him, the factories and his brands, and put them in our umbrella. And here in January, on the 17th of this month in Las Vegas at the SHOT Show.
Yeah, crazy.
Are you going?
No, I can't go to the. I'm in the East Coast.
We're introducing our American Rebel Liquid Fire, our American Rebel 2A lockers, and our American Rebel electric bikes.
Wow, the e-bikes.
Yeah, man.
Oh my, the e-bike industry.
Yeah.
You know, I got a question about this industry launching thing, right? Because, and I'm hearing it too, because do you go try to find someone who can manufacture it, design and stuff like that? Or is it like people come to you and say, hey, this might be good for the brand? And like, how do these meetings go? It's like...
It happens both ways. Let me say this real quick, and it'll kind of put American Rebel into perspective. But so when we started American Rebel, we were concealed carry, went into handgun boxes, and our flagship product right now is our gun safes. But American Rebel is not just a safe company. It might look like that on paper if you want to look at our revenue and where the majority of our revenue comes from. But American Rebel is America's patriotic brand. I want to see American Rebel beer. I want to see American Rebel generators. I want to see American Rebel racing parts, horse tack,
potato chips,
pool cues.
Let me stop.
I want Susie to go up to Mom and say, Mom, what's Dad want for Father's Day? And she says, honey, he wants anything with American Rebel on it. That's what we're trying to do. So people talk to us about licensing opportunities to license the brand. We develop products on our own. We also look at now as a public company, we look at acquisition targets. So it comes from everywhere. The e-bike company or the e-bikes, if you think about it, American Rebel has almost 400 stores now buying from us across the United States.
Wow.
So a lot of them are full-blown sporting goods stores.
They have to be.
Right. So they carry safes, but they're full-blown sporting goods stores.
Yeah.
So they want to see American Rebel dartboards, American Rebel kayaks, American Rebel e-bikes, they're all about it. So if we already have distribution and we already have those retailers, why not feed product into that same sales channel?
I'm about to get an e-bike, guys. Let me just tell you. I'm about to get an e-bike. Like, come on. I'm lazy. But anyways, not saying that that's a thing. But man, it's like you didn't leave the outdoors. Like it's like you didn't leave it outdoors. But the safes are like important, right? This goes back into something like is deep into what you believe in, right? It's the concealed weapon is one thing because of the legislation, but this Second Amendment is a lot. And yeah, we gotta abide by some laws, but let's put a safe in the house. I'm telling you right now, I got 5 kids in the house.
Yeah.
You think I'm not worried every day? You know what I mean? I don't care if I'm in a cul-de-sac. Somebody doesn't like me, it's gonna happen. So, is this where the strength and the power and the value comes from when it comes from America? Because I know a single didn't do it. I know a single didn't do it. It had to come from a real big passion. And then the amendment, Second Amendment, is big. It's I don't even know why it's controversial, but it is. Like, it's ridiculous, right?
Yeah, and really we got here too, going back to the music. So I did these hunting songs. We know that.
Yeah. When
Doug Grau asked me to come to Nashville and do a record, we weren't going to do a record with 12 hunting songs on it. I mean, we had to do something else. Doug Grau's, produced and been involved in #1 albums, #1 singles all over the place. So thought, well, maybe Andy ought to try to do a real song, just a regular song. Well, a top 40 country song. Well, that's not really me either. Well, what other than hunting, we can't just talk about hunting. What else do you love? I love my country. I'm a patriot, a big, strong Second Amendment supporter. All right, well, let's write some things with some kind of patriotic kind of vibes, because we can't just write hunting songs for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And when we tried some top 40 country, we tried some patriotic kind of things. We wrote 2 hunting songs for the record, and we found what sold. And then when we did, so the next record was Cold Dead Hand, and obviously it had a completely different vibe than the first record because we found our niche. So we found our niche in music. And to get to your question about American Rebel, so that said, well, if that's our niche in music, that's our niche in products. And we're big Second Amendment supporters. And we love gun ownership, but we also like responsible gun ownership.
Yeah.
I'm not telling anyone that they have to lock up their gun if they buy one. That's their choice. They have the right to own a firearm. They have the right to keep it on top of the refrigerator if they want to. But what's going on with, kids and the wrong kids getting a hold of guns and taking them to schools, and safety, and, gun safes are a great idea. We promote them. We think they're a great idea if you're going to own a firearm. I got, one that's not quite in the safe. Most of them are in the safe. And I got one that might be a little handy that only I kind of know where it's at. But I also don't have kids in the house. So, and I carry, but carry responsibly. And so we're involved in, our product line, and our products and our company practices what we preach in our music. It's the same thing. We're walking the same beat. I have people all the time say, how do you wear all these different hats? And I'm like, I don't. I just wear this one love for my country, patriotic hat. And sometimes it comes out in music, and sometimes it comes out in a product.
It's basically different
sometimes
forms.
It comes out when I'm singing, when I'm talking, or what have you. It's the same voice.
Yeah. I mean, let's get serious, guys. We're talking to American Rebel CEO Andy Ross. He this is back hills of West Virginia, driven. Go get on TV, which basically that's everybody's dream right now, right? Like, you get on TV, you get hit songs, you find your audience. That's one of the craziest things that a lot of people are just, they give up because they can't find them, and then it takes you into something else I can see how you can wear this one hat, because it's just, oh, you want to talk about that? Okay, we'll do that. It's just like when I'm running the house right here. Like, I got a few teenagers walking around lying to me. You know what I mean? But you got to love them, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I wear a shirt that says "fuck these kids." But anyways, like,
I know we can't beat them anymore. They outlaw that. So.
But I gotta mention that one. But anyways, it's just like it comes natural. It just comes natural. If you got a sense for business, then none of this is gonna be scary. Nothing. This is scary. Like, we're really trying to produce something bigger than us. And that's big. If you guys didn't know, go ahead, my bad.
No, I was just, I got a little confused. I was trying to wear 2 hats at one time when we became public, and I'm up at investor conferences in New York and speaking, staying in big hotels off of Times Square, talking to a room full of millionaires and billionaires. And, I thought, oh, I gotta wear a suit, and I gotta do this. And, after about once or twice, people would come up to me and go, I thought you were Andy Ross, American Rebel. Like, yeah, I'm Andy Ross, American Rebel. Well, did you leave the American Rebel at home? I mean, where's your sleeveless T-shirt? We don't want Andy Ross, walking around looking like the CEO of everything else. You're American Rebel. Wear your colors, man. And so, doing morning shows.
That
TV,
had to be refreshing, though.
And I'm just coming out,
let's go.
being me, coming out rocking, and that's what they wanted. And I thought, yeah, that's right. You're authentic. Stay authentic. Stay just who you are. You don't have to dress up for these guys, and so we just go out being ourselves.
That had to be refreshing. That had to be refreshing, because just being in a different room and you don't know how to act, to find out that, hey, don't do that. Like, you're invited for other reasons. You're here for other reasons. Wow, that has to be refreshing.
That's why we wanted you to come speak at the conference, because you're not like the other 5 speakers that were speaking at the concert. So don't try to act like them. And one of my board of directors and good friend, Corey Lambert, he told me that day one. He said, no, you don't need to do that. You should just do that. And I thought, no, I don't know. And I should have listened to him, because he was right. But yeah, we just roll in the same person, preaching the same message, doing the same thing, whether we're saying it or singing it, or it don't matter.
Oh my. You know what? Let's get into this All-American Heart. And we got an All-American Heart, a single that he is currently pushing, new music here on QSJ Radio. We'll get to this here in a second.
Here's to the cornfield farmer, old rig roughnecks too. Nurses on the night shift, drummer on a drum kit, ain't it red, white, and blue, doing their thing, playing their part, living the dream with an all-American heart. Big rig burning up the asphalt, blue collar on the line, small town teachers, Bible Belt preachers, under them stars and stripes, doing their thing, playing their part, living the dream with an all-American heart. From the south to the heartland, every woman and man, all living for the same thing. From back east to out west, just doing their best. Let that freedom ring. Oh, they're doing their thing. They're playing their part, just living the dream with an all-American heart. So here's to everybody, putting it all on the line, from state to state, pulling their weight, coming through every time. Yeah, doing their thing, playing their part, living the dream, right from the start, with an all-American heart. With an all-American heart, just living the dream, with an all-American heart.
Andy Ross, All-American Heart. You know, I gotta ask. Did the band stick with you? Like, was this an in and out thing going on with the band? This has been almost 20 years that you've been rocking out. Like, is everybody the same, or has things interchanged in the band?
Yeah, things changed a lot. You know, we're in Nashville, Tennessee. So, you know, my guitar players and drummers that I play with, and bass players and keyboard players, they are full-time professional musicians that make a living doing this. So if you're going to go out for 3 months and they go with you, and you're only going to play spring, summer, they got bills in the fall and the winter too. So they got to take other gigs. Yeah. And they may get on a tour that's a year and a half tour, and then you're ready to go out again in the spring and they're gone. So yeah, you gotta replace them. And, you know, you develop a Rolodex of 3, 4, 5 guys at each position that you kind of go to. Everybody's great about subbing. Everybody's great about referrals. You know, if I got a hold of Doug Cahan, my bass player, he's like, which just happened, I did a radio tour, and he said, hey, I can do the first half of it. I can do the first 4 weeks of it. I can do the 4 weeks of 6 weeks, but I'm headed overseas with Kelly Pickler. You know, I can't do that. But I got a buddy, man, who'd sound great on your stuff. If you want to meet him, introduce you to him, and
Wow.
I'll make sure he knows the material, and he'll fly in when I fly out, and you'll be fine.
Wow.
And so everybody's cool. You kind of get your favorites, and something that Doug Cahan, of all people, I just mentioned him, told me that has become true. There's a lot of great talent, guitar players, in Nashville. That's easy to find. The hard part's finding the right people on the bus, right?
Yeah.
Because you got to spend an hour and a half maximum on stage with them, and you got to spend 22 and a half hours on a bus or a hotel.
Yeah.
And so you gotta have the right hanging. What's that mean? Okay, I like to party, but I only like to party, this much.
Yeah,
This guy's just stoned out of his mind from 9 in the morning.
Yeah.
You can't talk to him. That's too much. But I like to have a couple beers and some beers after the show and hang for about an hour. Hit the is everybody kind of on the same page? These dudes are married, man, and there's no girls on the bus. These guys are married. Their wives, they promised them. Social media. This guy keeps, this new guy just keeps dragging girls on the bus from the time we get to, that don't work. This guy's a vegetarian and refuses to stop at Taco Bell. I mean, we can't have him. You got to.
That's a
find
lot.
the right group. Yeah, wow. You got to find the right group of guys that say, man, I can hang with these dudes for hours and hours a day in tight quarters, and does everybody know to maybe go to their bunk and take their laptops and give everybody some space, or is this dude just always talking and right there in the middle? So you got to find the right people to hang out with.
Yeah,
everybody can play.
You can play, but can you shut up?
Yeah, that's right. Can you shut up?
Oh, the life on the road. I'm telling you, I wanted that life at one time. I did. Now I'm stuck here, walking to the mailbox. But anyways, that's okay. Don't worry. I got slippers on. Big shout out to everybody listening. Andy Ross is in here. We just played All American Hard, which the goal was to aim at blue collar America, right? We're hardworking, in there, the grunts, people that keep things running. Was it easy for you? Was it easy? Was it hard? Did you have to go out there and take your experiences that you did while you were on tours and things like that? Because there's a vision of what the working class America looks like from a city point of view, and then of course the country point of view.
Well, I wrote that with Porter Howe, frontman, guitar player, singer, songwriter, Little Texas, God Bless Texas, Amy's Back in Austin, Kick a Little, What Might Have Been, all those hits. Doug Grau managed and produced and worked with him a lot, so he made that introduction for me about 14 years ago. I've been writing with Porter, and my thought process. I mean, Porter always wants to know, and he'll tell me if he don't like the idea. If he says, I don't know, or if he loves the idea, I'll say, yeah, I'll write that with you. I like that. Let's write that. And it's kind of like musicians too. Like you have an idea for a song, and you know what, Doug Cahan would be perfect to write this song with. Not everybody who's a great writer is great for every song. So you kind of, as a writer and an idea, and I kind of get a song going, I thought I'd really like to write this with Porter if he likes the idea. And the idea was this: you're military, ex-military.
Yeah.
Nobody, in my mind and the opinion of anybody who's thinking, would think anyone deserves a bigger applause and pat on the back for what they do for us and our country than the men and women of the armed forces. That's number one.
Okay.
Number two, first responders, law enforcement, man, do they deserve a pat on the back. But we do a lot of songs for the military. I've got several, and I've got one on this record coming out. And we do a lot of songs, and we recognize first responders. Porter, here's my idea. What about the guy? I mean, what about the guy who gets your trash once a week? What if he didn't do they didn't do their job? What do you do with your trash? What about, the school teachers and the nurses on the night shift? And, I mean, I'm not saying that I need to give them the bigger round of applause than the men and women of the armed forces, but they're very important to making this rock spin that we live on, that we're blessed to work on. My day goes really smooth when someone picks up my trash once a week, and my kids are getting educated, and you know, the small town preacher's preaching, and the people are out working in the cornfield. I mean, food's all of a sudden at the grocery store and ends up in my refrigerator. I don't have to go grow it. I mean, all of those folks deserve a big old pat on the back too, because they make this world go around, and I want to write a song for them. And he said, yeah, I dig the idea. And I think that small town teacher, Bible Belt preacher was something that came real quick, and then we just okay, and kind of had a melody and ran with it. And Porter's a genius, and he took my idea and my song and helped me. You know, I think we nailed it. We pulled on the heartstring. You know, the idea was to pull on the heartstrings of America, and I think we nailed it.
Yes, you did. I think that's going to be one of those American hits, you know. I think that
it's doing well.
I really believe that that's one of those American hits. Like there's about 20 of them. I think that's 21. I mean, there's really hundreds, but you know.
Hell of a compliment. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's one of those, like, you know, it's one thing to get in the studio. It's one thing to write. It's one thing to have a company and have a whole bunch of people working for you. But I know, I just have to believe the best part of this thing is performing. It has to be in front of those hundreds and thousands of people. I mean, you went to NASCAR's thing, and those are like automatic, like 10,000 people or plus. Definitely went to NRA night race, right? You know, that was big, and a whole bunch of different events. What was your best event? Now, I'm not saying the best, like, you know, you don't have to single out anybody like that. Yeah. Your most intimidating, as soon as you looked at the crowd, you were like, this is crazy.
Well, for me, and I don't know if it's this way, I'll answer this question a couple different ways, but as far as intimidating, you know, do you want to hear the one specific event that was intimidating? I can tell you the most intimidating experience I've ever had on stage. Let's go with that.
Okay.
I wrote a song called Necky Red with the Davison Brothers. I met them when I didn't live in Nashville yet. I was here. I met them at Losers. They're the ones that introduced me to Doug Grau, and wrote a song called Necky Red. They said, hey, our producer, Doug Grau, you ought to let him help you record this. Oh. I said, well, why would he record a song on me? They goes, well, if we ask him to help you, he will, and we're going to play on it, and you know, we'll just record it. Okay, we recorded it. They said, hey, we're playing a couple shows in West Virginia, not far from where your family's from. Why don't you come play the song with us live? Well, I didn't have much experience live playing. You know, the little live things I had done was my little hometown of Chanute, Kansas. First night, we're playing a good-sized bar, but there is no one there because there's this thing going on called Mountain Fest.
Okay.
And yeah, there's like 60 people in the bar, and I get up and I'm nervous. First time I've played live in forever and ever and ever, let alone one of my own songs. Don't want to let these guys down. 60 people, get through it, no big deal. Next night, 8,000 people opening up for Travis Tritt at Mountain Fest in a big outdoor stage. That was probably when I realized what we were doing, and they didn't tell me because they didn't want me to get nervous. That's probably when I realized, all right, I've done this once. I'm doing it for the second time on a big outdoor stage, 8,000 plus people opening for Travis Tritt. That's the one answer to the question. Now, for me going forward,
there's no way. I would not keep it together.
These people are in front row and they're talking to each other, and I'm sitting here thinking while I'm singing, what are they saying about me? They know I don't know what I'm doing. They probably know I missed that chord. I mean, you know, all these thoughts are going through my head. I'm halfway having an anxiety attack.
My.
But today, big crowds are easy and small crowds are tough. It's easy to act and go and play and run when you got a bunch of people singing the song and got their hands in their air and pointing back, feeding off the energy. You get to a place for whatever reason, there was a big chili cook-off down there. It wasn't promoted well. Something else was going on, in the town next door, and there's just a small crowd, and you've got to get out there and put on a big show. It's tough in front of a small crowd, but we're getting to play at any point is a blessing. And then, just to reiterate what you said, the best part of all of this is getting to play. Everything else from an adrenaline standpoint pales in comparison to walking out on that stage and having people dig into your music.
If you guys are just joining us, we have Andy Ross here. We're talking. We only got a few more minutes, all right? CEO things. He got to do a lot of things, and it's amazing that we had him on here. So, we talked about the history. We talked about Bud Ross. If you guys didn't know, that is his late father, who basically, just beat the business into him. All right, let's get it serious. The discipline. I like how you put that. We talked about his journey on the outdoor TV channel and Sportsman channel, and I know I saw you on AFM. I've been in the military since 2000, before 9/11, and I've seen the. My mom is a fan too. My mom loves archery, so, and after that, we talked about how putting your own song on your own TV show took off another journey for you here. I've read a lot, I've heard a lot about you, and it's so easy for you to almost like switch up. Like when we're talking about business, you're about it. When we're talking about music, we're about it. And then we're talking about constitutional rights, you're about it. And is this an everyday thing? Like, do you drink apple juice? Like,
No, I honestly, the one thing you had said about selling products, these were something you mentioned earlier, that companies that have a good backstory and products that have a good story do well. And when we became a public company and we were doing the presentations and stuff, one of the things that got us here that everybody loved was like, you can't go to a marketing company and make my story up. 4 guys that, graduated some fancy college, didn't sit around and dream and market my business plan. It's an authentic story. It's real. It's organic. It happened the way it happened. And you just can't make it up. I tell people all the time, I wasn't the best bow hunter in the world. I'm definitely not the best guitar player in the world. I'm not the best singer in the world. Not the best, probably businessman in the world. But I don't know anyone else that has my story. And, it's authentic, it's organic, and it's what happened. And people like the authenticity of the story. So when I'm talking about any of those things, it's just what I do from the time I wake up till, I go to bed. I'm just continuing to look for the next chapter, continuing to chase the American dream, and thankful and blessed. And I'll say this because I know we're out of time, but I tell this story that, I wish kids, and now probably adults too, everybody had a globe by their bed, the globe of the world, and it spins.
Yes.
I wish everybody had one by their bed, and they'd spin that thing when they wake up in the morning, and just drop your finger on it and stop it. And if your finger drops and stops on it on the United States of America, you're a lucky son of a, it. You are a fortunate person. Because think of all the other places that finger could land. Try to do what we do, in some of those countries. Yeah. Try to chase your dreams in those countries. Try to have the family you have in those countries. Try to think about what it'd be like to get through some of the struggles you've had in your life living there. If you put your finger on and it stops on the United States of America, you're a blessed person. And so I just get up and chase it, man.
Yeah. Wow. We're going to give you 10 more minutes here. I love talking to you, but I have to mess this story up. All right.
Let's do it.
I have to mess it up.
We have now started our fast round, where our guests are asked a few questions about themselves that they wouldn't expect us to ask. Don't worry, it's not like that. Hope you didn't think we were that underground.
All right, we have just entered the fast round with Andy Ross. This is our quick answer questions. This is about you, and probably not about the music, probably not about a business, but probably about some what we call dumb stuff. Okay. All right. So first thing is cereal soup? Why or why not?
Cereal's not soup because soup needs to be A, warm, and B, not crunchy and not made of wheat.
Oh, okay. What is the sexiest?
But I do love both.
I love them both too. Let's get serious. What is the sexiest and least sexiest name?
Sexiest name, Mildred would be a non-sexy name, and let's see, sexy name, Candace.
Okay. What secret conspiracy would you like to start?
Secret conspiracy would I like to start?
Andy, don't tell me you started one. Don't tell me.
Start a conspiracy. Let's start a conspiracy that says if you listen to patriotic rock and roll and have a gun safe in your house, that you will
You get
be
7
forgiven
versions.
of many wrongdoings.
Oh, that was so safe. What's invisible but you wish that people could see?
The goodness and kindness in people.
What is the weirdest smell that you ever smelled? And I know you have some smells. You gotta have some smells.
Let's keep it PG-13 here. Let's think. Weirdest smell ever.
Rockstar talk, I'm telling you.
Weirdest smell. We were bow hunting in Mozambique, Zimbabwe, and Botswana, doing the Big 5 tour, and I can't remember the name of the plant.
Ooh, a plant.
So if my answer can be a wild plant that grows in Botswana or Mozambique, wherever we were at the time, would be my answer.
Wow, the plant smelled.
It was a plant. It had a really
must be a purpose for
strange
that.
odor to it.
I'll look it up. Don't worry. I'll email you. Is a hot dog a sandwich? Why or why not?
Hot dog is not a sandwich.
I'm telling you, that's American right there. Tell me.
No, it's not a sandwich, because if you're old enough to remember the movie Grease,
Okay.
and when Sandy and the John Travolta character, what was his name, were at the drive-in, I saw the hot dog jump and do a flip and go into the hot dog bun. So it's a hot dog.
Okay. Hold on. Yeah, the best answer ever. You must have been asked that before. What is the most ridiculous fact that you know?
Ridiculous fact. That's a tough one.
There's a lot out there, just to let you know.
Let's see here.
You know what somebody told me once?
What's that?
They said the most ridiculous fact that they know is that candy corn is made out of fly poop. And I was like, I don't care. I'm still eating it. Like, you know what I mean? But anyways.
All right. I'm stumped here. Ridiculous.
That's
fact.
fine. We can move forward if you want.
All right. Come back to that one.
All right. What is the funniest joke you know by heart?
Do you want me to tell the joke?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. There's a bear and a rabbit pooping in the woods.
Okay.
And the bear looks over to the rabbit and says, "Does that stick to your fur?" And the rabbit said, "Well, no." So the bear reaches over and wipes his butt with the rabbit.
Oh, oh my. Oh, okay, we're done. We're done. We're done. We're gonna go with that one. We're gonna go with that one. Big shout out to everybody listening. Tune in to QSJRadio.com, home to the unsigned artist. Andy Ross is here. We got 2 more questions for you, and we're just gonna go right back and talk to you here in a second. We're gonna go bring back Cold Dead Heart, and then we'll get those 2 questions for you.
Time that I was 5 years old, the way it was told to me, the working man built this land and fought to keep it free. They knew we had to do what it took to keep our families safe. Now you wanna throw it all away, yeah. But if you try to take my rights, you're in for one hell of a fight. When it comes to my Constitution, I'm a true believer. Come to my house, I'll tell you right now, I'll give you my gun when you pry it from my cold dead hand, stuck with my middle finger.
Cold Dead Hand by Andy Ross. You guys can find that everywhere. He's not afraid to stream his stuff. Please do not be. We've been talking to Andy Ross for quite a long time. Thank you so much for being on here and dealing with my crap. I do got. I thank you so much for that. I do have 2 questions, and usually it's just one, but one is like, I've been doing this a long time. This is like a hobby that turned into something that I went ahead and LLC'd it, like I'm people not taking it serious because everybody's doing it now, right? Everybody's podcasting, everybody's talking, I think I ran across something about people talking about nostril hairs and how it reflects radiation. Like, what are you talking about? But anyways.
That's the craziest fact I've ever heard right there. The nostril hair. Radiation.
Anyway, back to it. Okay. I don't even know. They're gonna fact check that. But anyway, the one question I got is there's 2 different grinds going on here, 2 different levels, business and music, and they both go their different ways. Both of them have their versions of paperwork and things that you got to do, and rules you got to go for, to. You can bend a little bit, you can't bend too much because you end up somewhere. But when you see the small business owner and they want to take some advice from you, what are some advices that you give them?
Yeah, I mean, I would, when you own a business, you definitely got to, whether it's a music career or a business or starting your podcast, you definitely got to get yourself prepared to go with to deal with the highs and lows. And I can't tell you how many times in so many projects when we were at some of our lowest moments, it seems like for whatever reason, some of your biggest advances and opportunities come during the lowest, hardest and toughest times. And at times that you would very easily want to give up.
Yeah.
I think it's the struggles and the tough times that really create the opportunities. And you got to keep your shingle on the door. You got to keep going, and you just got to work through it and continue to push, because if you do, it's hard to fail if you don't quit. And I know times can get tough and things can look tough, and COVID was a good example of, even people close to you, man, why don't you just shut your doors? I mean,
Yeah,
why
yeah.
are you, but you
Very
keep
tough.
going and you keep pushing, and things will come your way. It's as a person of faith, I chalk it up to I pray about things and things happen, and just a lot of the things I think about. Um, but you could call it, if you don't want to call it that, you could just talk at the laws of the universe. I don't know
Yeah,
what the law is,
yeah,
but the law is, if you keep pushing and you keep going, even if you're terrible at it, sooner or later it'll break for you.
yeah.
And it does. And for whatever reason, it does, and does every time.
And I know that you referenced music in that. Is that almost the same when these young musicians come up to you, like, I know one thing that felt good for you was I can be myself everywhere. Take it or
Yeah.
leave it. I'm going to come. This is why people love me. This is why, and isn't that also like a self acceptance? Because sometimes, like, you can also, like, when you had the show in the later years, you were kind of like, am I really doing this the same passion that I had the first few years? And like, when you see the young musicians out there, and even though you didn't, some, you can have some tea, some coffee, and some beer with some big names, and
Yeah.
they're just trying to get there. So
Yeah.
how and what kind of advice would you give those musicians who are just starting off?
Yeah. The only reason um, that I have a music career is because I'm being myself. Um, Vocally wise, I'm not winning the voice. I might not even make the voice. Just being real, but I sing Andy Ross songs better than anybody.
Yep.
And if you come into town and your goal is to say he sounds just like Keith Urban, or she sounds just like Miranda Lambert, or whatever, they've already got a Keith Urban and a Miranda Lambert. And you've got to create your own sound and your own vibe, because you know everybody's looking for the next thing, not what's already done. That's why music keeps changing. I mean, there was one Elvis, right? I
Yeah.
mean, there's one Beatles, there's one Eagles, there's one Garth Brooks. I mean, once somebody comes up with a sound that's theirs, an original kind of sound, and they've coined it, the world don't want to hear that same sound from someone else. You got to do something a little different.
Yeah.
And it's hard to create your own sound and your own thing. It's hard to be Nirvana in a world of 80s hair music, but they did.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
all of a sudden, the world said, you know what? This 80s metal stuff, which I loved, was a lot of fun and it was really good, but we're just kind of tired of listening to it. Is there anything new out there? Well, Nirvana wasn't trying to be Poison and Motley Crue. They were doing something different.
Yep.
And Pearl Jam's a lot different than Nirvana.
Yep.
And these,
And
every
so
you
on and
develop
so
your
forth.
own
Yep.
thing.
Yep.
So it's hard to develop your own sound and to be yourself, and to have something unique. But that's why these weird voices, Johnny Cash had a very distinguished kind of offbeat, wasn't really a great singer, but had a great voice. Tom Petty's kind of got a sound. Willie Nelson had a sound. No one's saying these guys sang the paint off the wall, but they had their own sound.
Yeah.
So a long explanation, or a long answer to your question
It's
is,
all good. It's all good. It's music
just
talk.
you got to find something in you to pour out that's different than what everybody else in town's playing.
Andy Ross, such a pleasure to have you on here, talking business.
It's been fun.
Music, hot dogs. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna check that clip out too. Oh, Andy, so much going on for you right now. I really hope that you had a great holiday. And Happy New Year. You're our first interview for 2023. Yay.
Awesome.
And Are you active on social media? Because I know you've loved the camera before social media.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we're all my handles are Andy Ross Rebel, at Andy Ross Rebel. That's on all social media platforms. You can find them, at American Rebel. You can find American Rebel at AmericanRebel.com. My stuff's at AndyRoss.com. And before we close this out, we've talked a lot about my father. I'm very thankful I wrote this song a few years before he passed and got to play it live. But if you get a chance, check out a song I got out called a few years back called I Am My Father's Son.
I Am My Father's Son? You know what?
Check that out.
I'll check that out right now. Hold on. Give me a second. Tell everybody where they can reach you at. I know. You just told me.
The fact that nose hairs are, what are they again?
Oh man, back off radiation. What did I just say? Oh my God. I am my father's son.
You put an Andy Ross father's son, or I am my father's son, it'll come up. But it was a blessing to play that for him. He loved it.
Awesome. Big shout out to everybody listening. We're gonna close it out right here. Andy, again, it's been incredible to have you on, and we'll talk soon.
All right. Let me know. I'll be back anytime. Thank you for having me.
Awesome.
He grew up down in a coal mine town, right next door to nothing. Born to lose and a lot to prove. He turned himself into something. He told me to follow my dreams, don't back down from no one. So I'm gonna be a riverboat gambler, a wild seed, a midnight rambler. When you look at me, you're gonna see who I take after. Self-made, never changed rebel till the day is done. I am my father's son. Our headstrong vision, working man's wisdom, always served me well. Our taste for sin every now and then, you know it gives me good stories to tell. We're made that way, it's in our DNA, makes me proud as hell. So I'm gonna be a riverboat gambler, a wild seed, a midnight rambler. When you look at me, you're gonna see who I take after. A self-made, never changed rebel till the day is done. I am my father's son. So I'm gonna be a riverboat gambler, a wild seed, a midnight rambler. When you look at me, you're gonna see who I take after. A self-made, never changed rebel till the day is done. A big-hearted, God-fearing, hard-working man on the run. I am my father's son.
Andy Ross, I Am My Father's Son, off of the Time to Fight CD or record out now. Big shout out to everybody listening. Tune in to QSJRadio.com, home of the unsigned artists. I don't know if you guys know this, but I just had Randy excuse me, Andy Ross on the show. I saw Randy in the chat. So what's up, Randy? How you guys doing? Thank you so much for tuning in. Yeah, look, it all started somewhere, right? And it's very, very, it's very, very cool to talk to someone, especially somebody who's out there, like, you know, companies out there on NASDAQ, so, you know, the stocks and all that. I don't even know that stuff. And to know that he's just rocking out, you know, it's crazy because I think a few weeks ago, I said my mission for this year is to at least get an internship at my dream job. And you know, with these situations and stipulations and these basically these advantages that I have, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. And you just got to chase the dream, you know, regardless of what it looks like, you know. And, you know, just to hear the ups and downs from the business side, from the music side, and the family, you know, it's a great American thing right there, you know. I know I got a lot of friends from all different places, and you're like, oh, it's just not American stuff. Yeah, it kind of is. It kind of is, you know. You ain't never go to Michigan and get that lemonade. You gotta go to Michigan and get that lemonade. That's how you know you're American. Big shout out to everybody listening. Tune in to QSJRadio.com. Thank you so much, Andy Ross.
They should never gave this dude a mic. Here we go! He's killing it. Watch out. He's showing love and he's mad about it. Mad love. That's why we say, come on, man, you already know. Mad love.
Oh, you don't know about that lemonade? You gonna know today. All right, let me see if I can rate out. I'm probably gonna rate out, probably come back. I don't know. It is kind of late. I do have to go to school tomorrow. Because of all the vacation days that we had, we kind of like you know, it was kind of a thing. You know, Amelia's on. I saw that. So let's go get the incredible Amelia into this. That Michigan lemonade. You know, I just realized too that we were only streaming in one place. I'm actually aggravated because of that. So now I gotta do a bunch of stuff. But anyways, big shout out to everybody listening. Tune in to QSJRadio.com. Home to the unsigned artists. Pum, 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 pum. Now, as we go to check out Amelia, make sure you guys check out the raid. What's the raid? It's called the raid something. What is it called? Bruh. What is it called when you get the raid stuff? Do I got any mods in here? Somebody help me. Somebody help your boy. 'Cause I don't think that I know what I'm doing anymore. Alright, let's go show
This is worth going below again, but I really don't like the fact that I went.
This is my peoples. This is a bot. The bot maker. She's playing Team Light Tactics. She also gives away a lot of Roblox, middle of the night. Trans, okay. So if it's difficult for you, remember we're all people here. So love is love, and self-love is the first and most important thing. So, not saying that you have to like agree, but love is love, and it's true. It's true, regardless if you agree or not. Let's go show love. Let's go show love. Shout out to the camera, always.